Woo! What is going on, you beautiful crypto bastards? You beautiful bastards, crypto lovers. How are you guys? What is happening? So many beautiful people jumping in the chat. What's going on? Good to see you, fam. Good to see you all. Hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to today. Welcome to the coming back hot with you guys, and happy to be here. Good morning. Good morning. How are you feeling? What's going on? Rob Casey, my boy. Ooh, Rob Casey. What's up? Mr. Pace. Yo, foo. What's up, Mr. Pace, man? How are you today, dude? Bill Gould, dude. Good to see you. Bill Gould. Jake, man. So many beautiful, amazing people in here. Myron. What is up? What is up? Corey. Jesus, it's so good to see you guys. It's so good to be here. Hope you guys are feeling well. Hope you guys are excited. Yeah, totally had a great time last night. Lox Wolf, what's up, Lox? Oh, good to see you. Chelly Fire, Pascal, Egbertina, what's up? Yeah, Jake, thank you so much, man. You're right. Thanks for the reminder. You are 100% correct. That was a killer stream. I had so much fun, and I'd never really hung out with Jungle or chatted with Jungle, so that was really exciting to be on Jungle's stream, and I was super excited to be brought on and to talk with Jungle. He's very knowledgeable, a very great guy, very smart, very well aware of where we are and what's going on. So I was super ecstatic to be part of that. We're hanging out in the mountains for a second before we jump over to what's going on, what we're going to talk about today. But there was a lot of things that just kind of like was overlap. There was an overlap there for a minute where we were looking at basically the stream I did yesterday morning. I kind of like shouted out that I'd be on Jungle's show later, and Jungle and I kind of just bounced around and talked about some of the similar ideas, looking at there's a pump right now happening with XRP. There's like, obviously some expectations and excitement around the currency being one held by R3 and R3 pairing with Swift. So that was a great conversation to be part of, and I was really excited to be on there. Also, just kind of recognizing that sometimes it's hard to really put words behind a lot of these, technologies, a lot of the things that are going on in the space. So it was interesting to see that we've kind of like retraced a little bit too, because you got to remember that, there was not really any use. There's not really any like expectation that XRP would be picked up right away inside the R3 Corda consortium, but just the pairing alone brought some excitement. And there was some articles I saw talking about XRP leading a little bit of a slight, day in the green, a little bit of a bull run for what looked like a majority of the top cryptos kind of getting pulled up by XRP, which was really great. Honestly, really good to see that. In fact, I think if you looked at it just like 2 days ago, it was like 28 cents, and then it hit like 33 or 34 inside that run. But that's really just such a big indicator if you look at like how much the price is moved by pure speculation and by pure social metrics alone, because nothing really changed as far as like there was no real difference in volume. There was no real difference in what was happening with the tokens and their utility, and there's not really any you could consider that a new partner, but maybe it's like considered a new partner or a new access point to the use case of XRP, but not really. It's not like a surprising one. It's not like a big one, but you can see how quickly that news catapulted or became a catalyst for price movement. And that's what, again, has been something that we recognize over and over again in this space, is that the reality of the situation is that everything is based off of a lot of speculation and momentum and projections. And the same thing we talk about a lot in this space. And one of the things I like to use just as a reference to other big things is the idea that when you change the way you measure things, the things you measure change. So like if we're looking at a short time frame of a parameter and we're projecting that into the future, if we had a really bullish last few days and we project that into the future, we could expect really big things from that same measurement. Whereas if we had opened up the parameter to a bigger time frame and we looked at maybe we're actually not in as bullish of a run as we thought, maybe we're in a correction and it's part of a bear market in a sense, then you would again change your projection. You would actually change where you're projecting the movement to go to. And so one of the biggest indicators right now that we're still kind of in this very, very, very early stage is recognizing how quickly speculative investments, basically the news created the incentive or the speculation that there was a reason to buy in and people were buying in. Now, I guarantee you people were selling all day that knew we'd be back at 30 cents. And I'm not going to say I did or didn't, because I'm not trying to like sway you guys to try to play the market, but there's definitely a reality to the fact that, like, you know, I kind of talked about this last night on Jungle's stream. If you guys didn't watch that, I think it's up on his channel. You guys should totally go over to Jungle's channel and watch the stream. Him and I were just kind of just being goofballs and bouncing around, talking about ideas. But you know, we basically discussed the price of oil for a minute, and the price of oil in relation to XRP. And I've used this before in the past, and especially if you go look at, I love Visual Capitalist. Visual Capitalist is one of my favorite sites to check out beautifully represented data. And Visual Capitalist has this great graph about the price of oil, the history of oil and its price since its emergence on, as you know, in the global scene. And one of the things that was interesting is looking at oil's price was very minimal for a long time, because of the fact that you could not expect to use it in your car when there was no infrastructure to drive your car around. You know, like there wasn't a big incentive, or there wasn't a big demand for oil use, because the cities were not yet built in the way that the infrastructure wasn't there for cars to be used. And so similarly, a lot of the expectation and speculation in the price right now that causes price runs or price drops is not necessarily paired to the actual infrastructure that these systems will be put out into. So sometimes I use an analogy that these standalone cryptocurrencies are each like beautiful ships. Hopefully they're not like the Titanic. Hopefully they're like, you know, big ships that have, you know, rememberable names. You know, big ships that are built to go in the ocean, but they're not in the ocean yet. They're not out being used. They're literally just waiting to be launched. And the entire emergence of this like global digital asset rail that we speculate that is going to eventually emerge with the pairing of a lot of these consortiums together, and again looking at hyper transaction efficiency and looking at the reason that we highlight some of the coins more than others. There's a big exciting pull to recognize that we're still in this early stage, and that there's just social metrics and speculation are pulling these prices up and down. I still talk to smart people all the time that do not support cryptocurrencies as far as a narrative. And I talked to someone this morning actually that's like in AI. He's like super into, he's a developer. He's building things on top of, you know, he's building things like consumer facing applications, but he's using private databases still. He's still using the old way of creating these systems, because he does not have faith or trust in any blockchain tech enough to build something on top of it. And if you think about a developer pushing something to market, they're not going to start building things on top of blockchain tech that they do not understand or trust. And that's a huge conversation point that's been overlooked for a majority of the entire lifetime of this conversation. And I've talked about it a few times. I've touched on it a few times in the past in a stream, that developers looking for things to build on top of are not usually excited to develop on top of high risk, possibly failing blockchains. And so if you look at blockchain tech and how far it's come and where it's at right now, there's not really a reason for anyone to expect them to just go ahead and be gung-ho for developing on top of these. So, whoa, yeah. Hey, what's up? What is up? Good to see you guys. I'm going to say hey for a minute, and then we'll get into some chatting what's going on, and we'll talk more about developers building on top of blockchain and why they're reluctant and why we're still early to the market, etc., etc. What is going on, everybody? What's up, Sniken? Hey, guys. What's up, dude? How are you? Gaming crypto? Dude, I believe you. I believe you. Thank you so much, Jake, for the reminder. Yeah, the killer stream last night with Jungle was amazing. I had a good time. If you guys did not check that out, you should totally go and check out the stream. Jungle and I were just throwing down like OGs in the space like we do. There was actually some discussions about putting together like a panel. We'd like to invite a bunch of people on. Maybe I'll host that on my stream, and we'll figure out how I can connect a bunch of these guys together. I'd love to have, you know, a bunch of the creators and streamers come together. We could do like a open forum or a discussion, and we'll have like a talking stick or something we can pass around so that people don't get over talked or people don't get left out. But I think the exciting thing would be to get a bunch of people together and have us all chatting So we're trying to figure out how to host that or put that together. It's always the time frames that are really rough to keep people, to get everybody inside of the same time frame so we can get together. And I think there's also rumors of maybe us doing something on Jungle's stream soon again with me and Oz. So if you guys are super into that, you guys should totes like this video, like Jungle's video, give us a thumbs up, tell us you guys are into that, and we will make that happen just for you guys. So cheers. What's up, Mr. Sid Vicious? How are you, dude? How are you, Mr. Sid? Good to see you, dude. You're tired? Me? Not so tired. I'm not so tired. It's kind of cold and rainy today in Austin, but I'm actually feeling a little bit of that internal sunshine of the spotless mind. I also watched Waking Life last night, which I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched parts of it, but I put like some little droplets of it up on my Instagram. So if you guys are cruising through my Instagram stories, or if you guys don't know about my Instagram at all, go check it out. It's kungfunerd, and look at some of those stories. It is an amazing movie. It's such a great movie. You can watch it for free online. Just type in Waking Life watch for free in Google and it should come up. But Waking Life is a movie by Richard Linklater that basically, he also did Slacker. So Slacker is it's an Austin classic. It's this old movie of this guy, I think in the early 90s, walking around Austin just kind of being a slacker and talking to people. And he basically was, for one, just kind of like, I think, just creating something kind of like abstract, artish kind of film. But the Waking Life film is insane. They basically filmed the whole film here in Austin, and they handed the film over to a bunch of artists, and the artists painted each frame. So they painted over each frame of the movie, and so it's like a moving painting. It is insane. Each minute took them like 250 hours to paint. So that was really, really fun to rewatch. I watched that a long time ago. I watched that movie multiple times throughout my life, and it's always such a good movie. It's very deep. It's very philosophical. It's very inspiring. It's really a great film. And so I was checking that out, thinking about that, and that's it. That's all I did. I watched that. So cheers. Thank you guys so much. What's up? Welcome to the chat. Yo, Logan Harper. Yo, what's up, man? Wonder Gerald. Hey, what's up? South Africa. Good to see you from South Africa, man. Thanks for joining. What's going on? Crypto base. Beautiful crypto base. Awesome. Smash the likes. Thanks, Bill Gould, for the reminder. Everybody, we're doing a new thing where if you guys don't smash the like button, if this stream doesn't get like 100+ likes by the time I turn it off, it doesn't stay on the channel. So that's up to you guys. If you guys want to share this right now and get people in here or get people to like the stream, that's cool. If not, it's rough. Maybe it won't happen. Maybe it won't stay up. You know, that's just the way it goes, etc., etc. Aaron Villetta says Binance accepts credit card, debit card, except in the states I live. That sucks. Well, that's kind of how that goes. That's kind of how it works, bro. Whoa, Dazam, cheers. Thank you so much. Woo! Oh my goodness. Where's my notification sounds? I don't know if my notification sounds are working. I usually really like this. There it is. Bling.
Always good info.
And the robot. Oh, that's great. All right, the bling and the robot. Thank you so much to Zam for the super chat. I really appreciate it. And thank you, OBS, for actually making the notifications work. That is great. So true. What's up, some real guy? Good to see you guys. Hope you guys are feeling well. Let's see. Likes. I don't know what that means. I have no idea what that means. On the job site today, have to listen in the background. Don't worry, I will be extra loud so you guys can hear me if you're listening in the background. Mr. Sid Vicious says we are still in a bear market until shorts are squeezed, until shorts are gone, then we go up. I agree that we're definitely still going to see some continually declining prices slipping for a minute, but Jungle and I were talking last night about how exciting it is to be at these lower support levels and to have all the infrastructure being built, going back to the idea that, you know, looking at the oil price, the price of oil throughout its lifetime as the emergence of the infrastructure for oil's use case in the automobile shows up, and then moving the price higher from there. And again, there's a peak price where the price peaked out, and then now it's actually come down a little bit. So the price of oil per barrel is down compared to where it was at its all-time high. And again, all these markets have their own lifetimes, and a lot of that is really based off of, again, the reality of the situation that the infrastructure is still being built. So So you can't expect the price of oil to run up when the infrastructure is not there and no one has an automobile. And then going back to, I'm going to say hi for another minute and then we'll talk about that, the incentive for developers to be on blockchain. So cheers. That's a really good point. Mr. Sid Vicious, you're always on the spot. You're always on that spot. Joshua says, yo, KFN, hoping all is well. Thank you, man. Good to see you. Cheers. Thanks for sending the hopes. Ham Killer says, sup, Foo. What's up, Skirch? Foo Man Chew, what up? Ray Rodriguez, what is up? How's you? How is you? Kryptonian says, smash the likes and sub and hit that bell. Yeah, thank you guys so much for showing up. There's definitely been a minute where I've just kind of been running around and like not really trying to stream every day, but I just, you know, if you ever take like signs from the universe, you ever take like little hints from the universe, like, I kind of like got a hint today. I was like, maybe you should go, if you can get back to the house by 11 and set up, then maybe you should go live. And I did. I'm actually gonna go right after this, go back out. I gotta run some errands. I actually want to go get some food first. I'm gonna go get some tacos and get some coffee, and I actually might be going to buy a new camera, but I gotta run around and do some things, pick up some other gear, and I have a lot of editing to do too. I have that video that basically I told you guys I'd put up a response to some of your comments and questions on my video, How Crypto Will Fail, which is a video I put up, I think, about almost 4 or 5 days ago now, and it was very well received. People really liked it. But one of the things you see all the time still in crypto is people starting these dumb conversations on my videos where they're like, hey, Bob, have you heard of this great way to make extra money in crypto? My friend, Michael Flapper Bapper, he saved me hundreds of thousands of dollars, and all I had to do was email this number. And then you're like, what the heck? I spend a lot of time removing and deleting and blocking those people because that is some straight bullshit. One of my favorite new things they do is like multiple people show up and try to create like a conversation thread on a popular video where they're like, hey, I'm new to crypto and I'd love to know more about what is going to be taking off this year. And then like the other 4 accounts, they're like probably the same guy chime in. They're like, I heard this coin's going to do really well. You should check it out. And someone else jumps in and they're like, really? That sounds like a great coin. Thank you so much. Tell me more. I'll look into it. And I'm like, remove comment, block user, block user, block user. Like, get the fuck out of here, you fucking pieces of shit. Get off my freaking channel. Get off my freaking channel. Quit trying to troll people into buying your shit coin. No one wants your shit coins. Dazam again with another super chat. Häagen-Dazs. Are we talking about ice cream in the comments? I haven't caught down there. I don't even know what you guys are talking about. Thank you so much, Dazam. I really appreciate the super chats. Cheers. Good to see you. And let's hit a hotkey for you.
Häagen-Dazs.
I was wondering how the robot would say Häagen-Dazs. 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 Shoot, that is hilarious. All right, well, cheers. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. And definitely one of the bigger things that is crazy to look at is like if you make a video that's popular, like every time I make a popular video in crypto and it starts trending a little bit, you can see all these bad actors show up and start commenting like, oh, how do you make money in crypto? Contact my friend Michael. He made me a bunch of money. Don't ever do that. That's totally a scam. And if you see people talking in conversations on my videos, like having a thread of a conversation where they're like, have you heard about that new coin Bitmania? It's going to do wonders. I heard it was a small Russian company that just got picked up. And like, no, that's not how it works at all. In fact, I think on one of the comments, I saw them trying, every time I removed a comment and blocked a user, they'd make new users and they'd put new comments on. And they kept trying to shout out this stupid coin called like Bitmean or something. And I was like, this is so dumb. I'm going to leave a comment and I'm going to troll back these ridiculous bad actors. So I basically left a comment on there that said to the equivalent of a simple breakdown. And like the reason that you don't need to go look, someone was like basically trying to shout out some coin. And they're trying to put together like a narrative that like, yeah, it's a small reputable company that's going to put a token together. And it's like, this is why crypto is bullshit right now. And that's why I made that crypto will fail videos, because a lot of people do not understand the difference between these shit coins and actual useful blockchain tech. And that's where the problem too, when I was talking to this developer this morning who's super into building on applications or building things for AI, he again doesn't want to build on blockchain, or he doesn't even want to think and consider blockchain as a option for building on top of, because there is not a respectful, reputable platform to build on top of. And even if we disagree and we say, like, I think XRP is really great, the narrative right now for most developers is that blockchain's in too early of a stage to go ahead and start planning and building on top of. Now, other companies, obviously people who have plenty of money and time and resources, are putting their R&D, their research and development teams, to put use cases to blockchain. And that's obviously something that's big right now in the space. But if you're talking to like average developers, and that's why Wheats is such a great guy. It's so great to have Wheatsa Wind in our camp, and it's so appreciative of him. But if you talk to developers and they're literally trying to like develop something and push it to market for it to be effective, they're not going to just start building on top of like a disappearing foundation. Like if you talk about crypto to them, it looks like a sand pit. It looks like a quicksand pit, and they're not going to build on that, right? They're thinking like, that looks like some real sketch place to build and develop on. I'm staying away from it. So until that narrative changes, that blockchain is actually not only useful and beneficial to build on, but also reputable and respected to do so, then it's like respectable to take that approach, then we're not going to again have much change. As far as this goes, all the way back to Mr. Sid Vicious's comment about the market that we're in, and we're definitely in a bear market, and we're definitely still going to be wagged up and down, the tail that wags the dog in a sense. And Bitcoin, even though it's maybe not the most prominent or it's not the most refined manifestation of this technology at the time, there's still reality that it is in a majority of control of the prices of these coins as they get pulled up and down, unless there's specific, unless there's specific things that happen inside of like a market like XRP's. XRP's news yesterday with the R3 quarter stuff kind of led to some bullish activity for a minute, but you can see that that was very easily taken off the table. People were taking money off the table as soon as it hit 33 cents, which is something that we talked about back in the day, taking money off the table. Whoa, Jose H2X, my boy. Thank you so much for the 10 million drops, dude. Thank you so much for the 10 million drop, the 10 million XRP drop, dude. That's insane. Super awesome. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Dazam, Jose H2X. Man, you guys are too good to me. Too good to me. Let's hit this hotkey. Let's hit this. What do you guys like? We did a lot of investor blast off yesterday. Let's do investor blast off. I like this investor blast off one. Let's see, what other one do we have? We can go back to this screen, and we're looking at coin market cap, and I have Lion King. Let's do some Lion King. I love when hotkeys stick. That's my favorite. I like hitting the hotkey button and watching the screen freeze and do nothing at all. That's my favorite. Sweet Lion King hotkey. Thank you guys so much. Jose H2X, cheers. I really appreciate it. And Dazam, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You guys are great. Super chats and tip bots all around. What up? What up? What up? What up? Man, thank you, Mr. Pace, as well. Ooh, dang. Woo, Mr. Pace got me some 10,000 drop. Ooh, boy. Got 1 million drops just now from some real guy. Thank you guys so much. Y'all are too kind. What's up? What's up? I'm trying to catch up with some comments really quick, and then we're going to run through this. There's like a new world order discussion going on right now. You know, it's pretty apparent when you look at new world order. And you know what? I used to be super anti-establishment to the point where I was like, down with the new world order. It's going to be real bad, guys. Be careful. And in fact, I think I've kind of like switched sides. I think I'm actually part of the New World Order camp now, especially if I hold XRP. You got to realize like there's an emergence of a global payment rail. There's emergence of digital currencies taking a forefront at this exchange of value. And what is going to happen is going to be a new world order, a paradigm shift as far as the financial systems and the way we exchange money, how fast and easily we can send money, and how low barrier of entry these systems will become. And again, the incentive for banks to take part in this to save them money, but also the philanthropic qualities of this technology to introduce a store of value and to introduce basically a solution for poor people around the world to send money and hold money and store money. It's a big thing. It's a big paradigm shift. It goes beyond our egocentric focus of our own involvement in this space. So that's really exciting to see and really exciting to recognize. And that's one of the things that I think a lot of the benefit right now for conglomerates and the corporate conglomerates can actually take more time and resources to put effort into understanding and developing on top of blockchain tech, more so than individuals, unless they're like Wietze is successful on his own enough to where he can take his personal time and develop applications. Like the user interface for the tipbot is so beautiful. And thank you everyone for the tips from the tipbot today. But that's such a great example of how easily a single person can start taking on these corporate conglomerate structures that are going to try to be offering obviously similar user interfaces for people around the world. And they'll probably have a bigger marketing budget, and they'll probably have a bigger access to their current user pool. Like if Facebook, that's something we talked about yesterday with Jungle and I were chatting yesterday about Facebook introducing cryptocurrencies to their marketplace feature, kind of like how the Omni app is a really cool app. I think it's launched in California, where you can basically rent out your stuff that you have sitting around the house. Like if you have extra skateboards or cameras or bicycles, you can rent them out on the Omni app, and you can get paid in XRP. Or if you want to put things on, if you want to rent things from there, you know, like, and you want to pay in XRP, or you can pay in whatever you want. You can, because it's going to be easier to settle in something that's hyper efficient and microtransaction efficient, then it'll be easier to settle in any currency. And so that's a big thing to look at. What else could you put on blockchain? What else can you move over to distributed ledger technology that's going to become more efficient? And who does that benefit? Obviously, the specific use case of the people that are actually in that camp benefiting it. Also, the people that understood and picked the right protocol before it was used. But even the people that are being left out right now, left behind and left away from the financial systems, those are going to be people that are also going to benefit as well. So there's like a whole conversation that it kind of comes back to the New World Order idea, where I used to think, and like I used to kind of demonize New World Order. In fact, when I first started talking about how I became a supporter for the New World Order, I remember people showing up on my stream and being like, no, Foo, no, don't do it, it's bad. And I was thinking like, no, you guys are demonizing something you don't understand. This is a paradigm shift that's more about like bringing equality and bringing utility to people around the world. And it's not about excluding people as much as you were originally led to believe. Now, there's going to be a possibility that if you pick the right protocol and if you understand the technology and if you get into the right value trap, you could make maybe a significant gain. But I've moved myself away from that conversation for a little while, because again, it seems like the cyclical nature of crypto is that, you know, there's big run-ups and there's big corrections, and when the run-up happens, people join the space that are interested just in making money, as probably most everyone here is. But also when the correction happens and when people stop paying attention to the conversation, one, the question is, do they sell? Do they sell because they gave up, or do they hold because they're still believing they're just waiting for the next cycle? Two is, are you still interested in the conversation? And if you're still interested in the conversation, you actually give yourself a better chance of understanding the value trap. And the value trap is not necessarily just going to be something that is easy to articulate in a short stream. It's not going to be something I can just tell you like this one coin or this other coin or whatever, because these are changing metrics. These are moving markets, and these systems are being developed in real time right now. As we're sitting here discussing them, we're basically watching horses race the track, and like we can look at which horse has the best breeder, which horse has the best diet, which one has been winning the most, which one has the likelihood of succeeding. But when we're watching it in real time take place and manifest in front of us, we're just all speculating. Again, just like yesterday, how the run-up of XRP took place because of some news around the token, we're recognizing that the social metrics and the momentum and trajectory of these tokens is a majority of what rules their price. And we're not really sure what's happening with the actual race. Like, we're all reactive to the reality that these systems are being developed, and we're excited to try to speculate about where the value trap is. But long story short, too long didn't read version is the reality that this is a big paradigm shift. If you can assess the value trap successfully, you can probably do a really good job of maybe putting a lot into Lox Wolf CLP 2500. Lox Wolf, you are too kind. You are too kind, Lox Wolf. Me, let's hang out. I saw you comment on my video that meeting strangers on the internet, and you were like, let's hang out. I would love to. You're in Chile. I'm coming that way. Let's roll. Let's make some movies. I know that you're into Kung Fu and you like to make videos. Let's make some freaking sweet videos. Whoa.
OMG
More
and
super chats.
WO is
Zam.
creating synergy across the globe. Paradigm shift for sure. Let's get to the next level as a species.
Oh my goodness, that is so on point. What a great comment. Thank you so much, Loxwolf. Thank you so much, Dazam. I really appreciate it. And yeah, you were 100% correct. It's creating synergy across the globe. That's basically what's happening. And there's a possibility and an incentive for us to kind of like try to successfully, you know, speculate about the value trap that's going to be happening for these protocol layers, but there's an emergence of like a degree of equality that I never really expected to be paired to the conversation of the New World Order. And I think the New World Order being paired to the conversation about equality and synergy across the globe is a big movement. And I think if you look now, like how many people have adequate necessities more so than we did 100 years ago, it's crazy. Like we're bringing more poor people are being brought into basically inalienable rights. So inalienable rights of the necessities to survive and be part of life being provided to people that were originally kind of like not given these opportunities or not introduced into the system. And that's huge. That's huge. I think it's going to be really big for people around the world, not just for us that are speculating about the value of the token in a very egocentric way, but even for really poor people around the world to be brought onto these systems. In fact, there's discussions of what we call an infrastructure inversion. Like if you look at in Africa for a while, there's no infrastructure development, and there's basically like a space, like a lag, kind of like an ebb and flow, or like an ebb and flow of the technology and infrastructure arriving. And when the infrastructure inversion comes through some of those places, are basically when infrastructure and technology and innovation comes through some of those places that have been lacking those developments, it's basically like an infrastructure inversion. So that means that they're not going to be building or trying to maintain the way we built roads or the way we built cities or the way we use money from 20 years ago. They're going to get the newest shit. They're going to get the newest stuff, the best of the best, and it's going to come straight out the gate, straight to them, because they can start from zero. They can literally build it up from zero. So there's a really interesting conversation right now about like how does an infrastructure inversion adversely affect developed countries. And if you look at the fact that we already have this infrastructure in place is one of the challenges and one of the barriers of entry for us. So that's kind of a challenge, I think, and it's really interesting to look at. But yeah, totally agree with you, Dazam. Thank you so much. I agree. And thanks for the super chat. What is going on? I like totally just skipped a bunch of comments, just jumping down to the bottom of this. Let's see. Rope-a-dope. Dazam, you're funny. Rope-a-dope, Haagen-Dazs. Have you heard of that new coin, XRP? Yo, you guys heard of that one? Yeah, thank you so much, Ed French. I had a really good time chatting with Jungle last night. That was a good go, and he's a good guy. He's very, very well informed, and he knows what to ask. You can always like tell me what you think about, and I'll tell you who you are, is one of these old Zen quotes I used to like to drop. And really, when someone asks you questions, they're kind of giving you a glimpse into like what they're thinking about. Like they're asking you questions about anything that gives you an idea of what they're on about. And so I can tell Jungle knows what's up, and Jungle pays attention. He's smart cookie. So I was happy to be on that stream and kick it with him. And again, we're trying to do something in the future with maybe Jungle and Oz and I hanging out. Also maybe a bigger chat, like a super forum with a bunch of us all hanging out. And so we'll figure out how to do that. And if you guys want to do that, please smash the like button, give us a comment, and tell us that. Go watch Jungle's stream on his channel. And I think Jungle was saying he's putting stuff up on Facebook too. So if there's a link on Jungle's video to go see his stuff on Facebook, then you should definitely do that. Give him some support. Send that shit out there. Send it around to people that like to be part of this conversation. Thank you so much, Ed French, for the reminder. You are welcome. So good. I hope you're doing well. JPR Jr. says, how are you? I'm good. Thank you so much, man. I'm doing really well today. It's a beautiful day out, even though it's cold and rainy. I actually had such a good idea this morning, and I've been writing a bunch of stuff down that I need to kind of like keep. Sometimes I'm like so easily swayed by my ideas, and I have a bunch of ideas, and some are bad. Some are just like bad ideas. I got to put them out there. Like I got to just like stop thinking about them and get them away from me. And some are really good ideas that I need to like basically put time and effort into and develop and push them out into the world for you guys. So cheers. That would be really cool if I can get this idea that I just had this morning to manifest in a positive way. That's something I'm excited about. So cheers. Crypto time. Hello, Kung Fu. What's up? Michelle P. Same, my friend. How are you guys doing? Aiden Trading. What's up, dude? Good to see you. Myron Bagale says, give me the usernames at Kung Fu. What usernames? I really want to give them to you. I don't know what I like. Sometimes takes so long to get back to the comments. I'm like a little bit behind you guys, or way ahead, or behind. I'm not sure. I think I'm behind. So cheers. Tell me what usernames you want to talk about, or what you're asking about. That's my favorite hotkey. The Lion King is your favorite hotkey. Let's hit it again. Let's hit the Lion Key again, because you know what? You guys are worth it. I appreciate you all. You're all so beautiful. 100 people in the stream. Smash the like button. Let's hit this Lion King. Woo! Yeah, totally. Kryptonian 23, I hear what you're saying, and I get it, man. It's a little bit of like an evolved, it's like a changing conversation, though. I think that there is more to it than we think, so that might be like a little bit different than we had anticipated when we see a new world order emerge. Basically, if you throw back to the idea that like, I care not who makes the laws, this is like our founding fathers' quotes talking about, I care not who makes the laws as long as I can control the money. And thinking about the emergence of a global financial system, we've never had something like that before. We don't really know what it's going to manifest as. If you look at these isolated stock markets right now, they go on and off. It's easy to like, you know, the stock market ends at a certain time of day, and people can rest and take a rest and come back the next day. So if you're looking at like the emergence of a 24/7 global financial system, that's kind of terrifying to a lot of people. They're probably reluctant to take part in that. If you look at blockchain tech as not being maybe as well received yet by the development community and developers and people who are building the infrastructure and applications, they themselves maybe aren't necessarily ready to start building on those technologies. So there's a reality to this threshold we're in. So there's a threshold that we're moving through, and it might take a minute, and it might be longer than we thought. It might be shorter than we thought, and we don't really know. It's hard to say. And again, there's a life cycle to each coin, and each coin's so specific, each token's so specific to its certain life cycle. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. It will take as long as it takes. Darren Boxer says, I'm looking at 10 to 12 years ahead, not 1 to 2. And I think that's a really good point. I think Darren Boxer is right. If you're thinking about in 1 or 2 years trying to have an exit strategy, then you might be missing out on the actual emergence of this whole shift. And it will take years. 5, 10 years is a really more likely time frame than anything else. So again, I think that's important to recognize, and I think you're smart for recognizing that and expecting not something short term. That's probably a really good idea. Louis Marriott says, I just downloaded a Celsius app. Cool. What's up? Body Sculpting, my man. What's up, Body Sculpting? Cheers. Appreciate your post today, dude. That was really good. I think you get it, bro. You get it. Let's see. Careful of your taxes. NWO for our financial transactions is cool. NWO as one world government where I lose my liberties. F that. That's when the ARs come out. Now, here's what's really interesting to think about is like if you have the New World Order emerge as part of the financial transaction system, that's kind of like a form of governance, right? Because money rules everything. Like food under lock and key, which is a concept from Daniel Quinn's book Ishmael and Daniel Quinn's book Story of B, which I actually think I might have those in my description, or I have The Alchemist. I have books in my description that I encourage you guys to read, but one of the big things about this conversation about food under lock and key is the idea that basically governance is the control of money. So even if there's not a one world government, if there's a one world financial infrastructure and it's regulated by the continual, like the BSA, the Bank Security Act, and the IMF regulating financial systems, that's equivalently a form of governance. And what's crazy to think about is that it might not manifest how we originally thought, or how I originally thought this could come together as, but looking at governance taking a paradigm shift as well. Like governance is actually taking a paradigm shift because we've reached a new way to reach consensus. And so at some point you have to realize the masses, again, I saw someone just say this. They're like, the masses aren't going to be aware of this conversation. And again, they won't. We're going to still just be using our devices, and we're going to be plugged into the user interface, and it's going to look just the same, and it's going to be normal to us. But in reality, the infrastructure underpinning this technology is going to be different. And the global infrastructure of a financial system will be regulated to the point where you, again, could expect that as a form of governance. And most most likely we're not going to have enough people part of the conversation to make any real consensus changes for governance for a while. But this is the introduction to what is possibly a revolution in consensus, which is a revolution in governance in itself. Because again, we're giving people the option to decide something without a single point of authority. And that's a big shift. So cheers. Cisco Terez is talking about lizard people. I'll skip. Cisco, I really appreciate you. Thank you. To be here, Joshua Symes says, in this space makes you smart. I'm a teacher and I know smart. I get outsmarted on a daily basis by teenagers. I know smart. I reckon the IQ test war should start. Ha ha ha. Joshua Symes, I really like this comment. I can't tell if you're trolling me or not. I'm really not sure. I really appreciate it though. You're right. New renewable guy 589 says he's reflecting on how the NWO has been demonized over the years. Yeah, that's an interesting conversation to be part of as well. I agree. I don't really know how that happened or what's going on with that, but I think people often rebel against change. They rebel against authority. And again, if there's got to be someone making the tough decisions. You know, there's got to be someone that's going to make the tough decisions. And I'd like to see the emergence of a global consensus, a global governance in a sense, because I think it would help kind of squash some of the tribalistic wars and some of the exchanges of power struggle that we've seen. Again, recognizing that we might not be in charge. If you talk about simulation theory and if you talk about the emergence of AI, then we might not be in charge of this governance. You know, I don't know. That's a good question. Cheers. All right. I'm going to skip down. I skipped so many comments just now. Welcome back to the Morning Times. Thank you so much. Cheers to see you, Team of Light. Hello. You have to submit your own reassessment. Okay. Developer money is so precious, can't waste it in questionable text. Skirch1 is referencing and putting the context of my comments about basically developers not really having an incentive to move over and build on top of quicksand is one of the reasons we're still seeing a lag in this technology emerging to the market. And again, that's a big thing. We have literally developers every day looking at what they want to build on top of and what are they going to do, and they're again choosing over and over again not to support blockchain tech because it's just not mature enough. It's just not mature enough and in a place to be built on, and I think that's understandable. So cheers, Skirch. I think you get it, bro. Dennis Watts says, I was no part of a new world order. You're asking for one government rule over the world. If XRP is leading to new world order, I'll make my money and cash out ASAP and go off the grid, buy gold and silver. I think, Dennis Watts, you're still living inside of a fear-based mentality based off of the old paradigm, and you don't need to live in that way anymore. I don't think people meant to hurt you. I don't think that the things that you were expecting to take place and manifest in a negative way, I don't think that that's the reality anymore. I think that we're moving towards a group, a more commonality. I think we're reaching towards inclusion. I think we're reaching towards utility for people to all have access to store of value and to their inalienable rights. And I think that this is a good thing. And I wouldn't encourage you to think of it in such a fear-based sense. But you know, cheers. You can do that. No big deal. Yeah, we do hear highly intelligent people like the Ripple CEO, Brad, mentioning New World Order is kind of an interesting tipping the hat towards this change that's happening. So that's interesting to think about. And that's actually what made me talk about it today was I saw a couple people putting that up, talking about the New World Order and Brad Garlinghouse talking about that. And again, that's just it's such a trigger phrase, right? People get triggered by that phrase very easily. They're like, oh man, the New World Order, and they have the bad taste in their mouth because of whatever past relationship they have with governance. And it's kind of like you being afraid to love again, or you being afraid to like be vulnerable, which is actually what I put out in my video yesterday, why you should never meet people from the internet, which you guys can go check out on my channel. A lot of that being vulnerable and a lot of that being able to love again or to trust governance again is recognizing that it's not going to happen the same way. You can't hold on to your past trauma and then expect to like receive something new and positive. You got to choose one or the other. Either hold on to your past trauma and expect it to happen and make it happen by a self-fulfilling prophecy, or let go of the past trauma, let go of the old narrative, let go of the trigger words that you attach to New World Order, and move towards what is actually happening and what's actually being available to us as an evolve. It's like an evolvement for our species, really. It's like an evolution for our species to reach a new form of governance and a new form of equality. And that's big stuff. And it's a big thing that most of us don't even know what it's like to not have a store of value. If you're watching this right now, you have access to the internet. You have access, you probably have a mobile phone. You're probably inside of one of the higher tiers of society right now, and you don't even know it. And one of the problems too is that for the big part, majority of people don't understand how underserved and how underserved and how challenging it is to not have these simple things like, simply just the access to a store of value is a big one. Simply access to information is a big one. That simply to be able to take part in a global conversation, which is the internet, is a big one. And so people being left behind and people not in that, again, will be given a chance to be included. And that's really big. That's really big. I'm going to skip down again. I hate skipping past comments because I really want to read every single one of your comments, and I really appreciate all you guys being in the chat and showing up. But I'm going to skip down for a minute so I can see if I can catch up with you guys and see what's going on. Actually, let me come back. Let's look at this article I pulled up. Basically, this was something that was bouncing around today. Ripple's digital asset XRP rallies after the IMF praises the tech. So this is, again, kind of, I think, along the lines, too, of Brad talking about New World Order and talking about the emergence of these payment rails. This is a very heady conversation, and a lot of people probably are not necessarily even in the conversation, let alone able to, like, actually recognize how much this is just emerging in real time in front of us. You can't say it's like been easy to be part of it. It's, again, a very raw combination of technology and financial systems and speculative investments, and it's a big kind of a mosh pit of change, and it's very confusing and it's very exciting at the same time. And in fact, I was talking Jungle, so many things I'm referencing to what we talked about yesterday with Jungle on his video on his channel, was recognizing that years ago I was bartending and I recognized, like, I need to start investing my money. I started recognizing, like, I want to invest money so I can actually earn money just by, like, holding stocks, like, or having equity. And I started looking at how to invest. And one of the biggest things that stood out over and over again as a good investment vehicle is innovations in technology. And if you look at innovations in technology that shift paradigms and offer utility to people, that's a huge potential for return on investment. And that's why crypto, I think, is it's so hot in a sense, and people are really excited about it, but it also has a lot of shadow around it because people are reluctant to take it seriously. People are very confused by the conversation. There's a lot of different conversations happening at the same table, and in reality, the fact is that no one really knows what's happening. They're trying to figure it out. They're trying to put it together. And so the IMF praising this technology is a really big tipping the hat to the point of that we have to recognize that they're doing something right. XRP is doing something right, and they're definitely picking up a lot of good supporters, but they're also opening themselves up to not be token specific. Like, they're not, they're not necessarily trying to force anyone to use XRP. They offered XRP in a sense as a use case, but they also offered the ILP because they noticed that token-specific protocols are dangerous to the system. So there's a reality of the technology innovation and the technology value trap being pushed forward into the market, but people are still really new to the conversation. Even the powers that be are recognizing that there's a threshold that we're crossing through. So that's interesting to think about. And I just saw this. I'm sorry to, like, jump through the comments. Joshua Symes says mainstream media pumps the liberal agenda, and liberals tend to be wet wipes that want to climb back inside their mothers. This is hilarious. I love your comments, Joshua Symes. You made an earlier comment that was kind of funny too. Oh, there's new technology that threatens my $1 trillion industry. Oh well, very funny. Nice to see you got your groove back, says Ed French. Thank you so much. Cheers. I'm happy to be back. I've actually had my groove back for a minute. I just haven't been live streaming. So I've actually been feeling really good. This was actually, live streaming was kind of like the last cherry on top of the sundae for me, because I have my groove back. I've been making videos. I've been having a good time. I've been out in life, been living my life, doing handstands, going to the park, meeting new people, having a good time. Live streaming is like something I just kind of do because I love interacting with you guys. I love that we have a conversation. I love that you let me practice articulating these concepts, because at some point, a lot of you guys are new, or you kind of there's some of you guys that are been around for a long time, and you probably know when I'm repeating myself, but a lot of times this is a great practice for me. This is great practice for us, for you. If you watch Westworld, one of my favorite concepts in Westworld is like whenever the head developer is laying in bed with the exec, and she's like, "Why do your robots talk to each other whenever no one's around?" And he's like, "They're refining. They're improving and refining their language programming." And I realize like that's what we're always doing. And so we're always working to refine, we're always working to improve. And as much as like you might think that this would be my priority, this is actually just like my fun time. This is a good way for me to interact with you, get some chat, get challenged. Really, I like when you guys throw things up that kind of make me think. I like when you guys put stuff up that makes me kind of like have to reassess my position on these markets. And I like being challenged to re-articulate this knowledge over and over again, because I'm refining my ability to do so. I'm refining my ability to take part in this conversation, and that's something I'm excited about. I'm excited about this emerging...
NWO fears are indoctrinated. There's a fear existing. OL greedy guys will die off. Shift will happen. Our kids will have global synergy, not only finance, education, tech. Ideas. Don't be afraid to manifest and be a good person.
Dazam, thank you so much for that super chat. I really appreciate it. But also, thank you for your words. That is so spot on. Fear has been indoctrinated, and I agree 100% with what you're saying. Global synergy, not only in finance and education and tech. This is a huge shift. This is a big, big thing. So I'm super excited to be part of the conversation, and I really appreciate not only that you guys are part of the conversation, but that you ask questions. I'm not trying to say I have all the answers or that I know everything, and that's what it really takes us working together. It takes a team. What do you know about that? It takes a team, and being part of the conversation and being able to be challenged is kind of like letting the wind blow on a young sapling. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's rough. It's crazy rough to realize that we need those challenges sometimes to help us grow strong. And I really appreciate everybody being here and everybody wanting to join and share and recognize that there's something worth paying attention to. At least, you know, there's something worth paying attention to. And if you go out in the real world and you're talking to people about this stuff, often they do not want to be this involved in the conversation. They want to maybe speculate a little bit about the price and when it'll come back up. I met someone at the park the other day. I think his name was Zach, and we were doing like handstands in the park, and he came up and like right away, when you see someone else like doing handstands and like backflips at the park, and you're like, and you see each other across the park, you're kind of like, you both know like, yo bro, like we should be friends. We should be friends, bro. And so when he was rolling out, we waved to each other. We walked over and shook hands, and we chatted for like 20 minutes. And I don't know if he knows that I talk about crypto or not, but maybe I mentioned something about crypto, and he started asking me about the markets and when they'll come back up to their all-time high, if it'll ever happen, et cetera, et cetera. So even people that are casually part of the conversation are again interested in the price of these tokens as they manifest and as they're paired to utility. We don't know necessarily what that looks like, but the bigger conversation, I agree 100%, as Dazam said, is the realization that we have an emergence of this global shift, and a global shift is going to be really good for a lot of people, I think, and it's going to be really beneficial. And I'm really trying to recognize that there's a point where like this conversation will be picked up and supported, and people will definitely recognize the utility of DLT, but it's not for everybody. You know, some people are going to still just be watching the Kardashians. Some people are still going to be watching like, you know, my fluffier YouTube videos where I'm talking about whatever, or when I'm doing. Some people are just not interested in this conversation, and that's okay. That's actually why I've decided to keep everything on one channel, is because there's a degree of crossover possible, and there's a degree of the reality that we are all kind of like not necessarily separate. We're all paired. We're all interconnected. We're all interconnected. So I think the stream just crashed. Did it crash? Does it look like it crashed to you? No, maybe not. Dezam, thank you so much. I really appreciate the super chat. And Lox, and you know, I really appreciate you guys. Lux, go ahead and say, let's go ahead and say investor blast off. Man, the hotkeys have to actually work when I hit them. It's not fair, OBS. God dang it. Okay, let's try it again. Investor blast off. Woo! That's a good hotkey. Hood Suburban says, oh, the whole crew is here. Cheers. Good to see you guys. Meowgi, what's up, my man? Tim Bartlow, love you, bro. I love you too, man. I love all you guys. Thank you so much for showing up. Thank you so much for being part of the streams. Cheers, cheers. Every time you read my comments, I instantly regret writing it. I live in the world where my expression is compelled. I'm a libertarian conservative, and I don't agree with the liberal mechanism. Thank you so much, Joshua, for clarifying that, because I was actually about to fall into a narrative about that. Joshua, are you the guy that that lectures in the UK that you put up a comment on my why I almost quit YouTube video? Because I actually gave you a shout out, kind of like a low-key shout out in my last video. Why you never should meet people from the internet. I gave you a low-key shout out because I really liked your comment, dude. Are you the guy that lectures in the UK? Because I'm totally going to come and sit in one of your lectures, man. I really like the way you worded your comment. I think that you're a really smart guy, and I really like what you're sharing. So please keep commenting. I'm sorry if when I read the comments I don't do them justice, but I do agree with what you said right here is really spot on. There's very much a categorical structure around how we approach political parties, and so I kind of like fall away from the narrative of like liberal or conservative or et cetera, et cetera. But I will recognize that you putting libertarian conservative together right there is really a spot on point. I really appreciate that, especially if you recognize the fact that like liberals are really at the underpinning of the word liberal is like someone who's open to new things, and conservative is someone who's, again, you know, not. But that's a paradox in itself. I really, really like your comments, dude. Please keep commenting. Cheers. Doing good work. Good work. Sure, my friend. Let's see. Hooded Suburban says, Jake, because the New World Order is out there. This NWO is boring compared to the steam engine. I don't know. I wasn't around in the time of the steam engine, so I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that at all. Love for Crypto says, it's time for NWO and globalization. It's also not even that scary anymore if you're ready for it. If you can't win on a level playing field, you don't deserve to win. LOL, some Scott. What is up, Scott? Love from Crypto, and Hooded Suburban chiming in as well. Thank you guys. You guys are great. I really appreciate it. And Joshua, you got some more comments that are spot on as well. I agree, dude. There's a lot of manipulation and control, and a lot of like narratives that are meant to kind of like take away our combined power. So the unity of the people is really about kind of sifting through those the dividing, triggering terms, and we gotta figure out how to kind of unite and be part of the conversation. In fact, I think one of the bigger things. Oh no, the stream crashed. It's rough. Yeah, if you refresh the video, it should come back. One of the bigger problems too is I think that most often we are not given a safe space to communicate. Like often if you challenge people's ideas, it's not very easy to fall into like a healthy conversation where we challenge each other. We often kind of like demonize and try to manipulate instead of like approaching the conversation in an open discussion, which is one of my favorite old school Buddhist training tactics, was for you to literally have a discussion with someone and pick two topics and debate them, but the topics you pick are not something you actually care about at all, but you try to choose to support something that you would normally not care about, or you try to choose to like to challenge something that you normally do support a lot. And so I think being able to develop and practice conversation in a safe space, to have an open narrative where you can challenge each other but not demonize each other or not create a divide, is something that we kind of lack in our culture. And it's not necessarily, it's kind of like if you throw back to the idea of like Neil deGrasse Tyson, one of my favorite guys ever. Neil deGrasse Tyson talks about literally the idea of how we kind of have like a an interesting way to like to say things are right or wrong. Like if he uses the example, like if you're at a spelling bee and they're like, they asked 2 kids like spell cat. They asked 3 kids. They said, you know, here's the word cat. 3 kids go for it. One kid's like CAT, like yeah, correct. The next kid's like XYZ, like no, wrong. And the next kid's like KAT, and they're like no, wrong. The 2 people that got it wrong are equally wrong, and the kid that got CAT got it right. The problem is that there's not a conversation about why it's right. And in fact, if you look at it phonetically, it would actually be more proper to say KAT. And so when you have this conversation about right and wrong, but not a real conversation about the discussion of the underpinning reality of the foundation of these concepts, then we're kind of robbing ourselves from the ability to take part in a conversation or to be open to reassessing knowledge. And so the possibility for you to, you know, have a safe space is crazy. You know, the possibility for us to have a safe space for us to exchange information and be part of a conversation has kind of disappeared from our world. In fact, the one of the biggest inherent flaws of capitalism is the lack of our communal spaces. You know, like you have to like pay to be part of a community, and then it's just blah. Blah. I'm just like going way off in a rant. I'm gonna start reading comments. Using the chronic, says using the love and thank you words in every other sentence can be taken as such hypocrisy. And often I do find that people are sometimes maybe reluctant to be supported. They're reluctant to take a compliment, or they're reluctant to be supported or encouraged. And they almost do kind of have like a negative reaction to those support systems, because they're just so used to being criticized, I think, because they're so used to being challenged in everything they do, and they're not used to the thank you and positive support. And that's one of the things that I started recognizing years ago when I was bartending, was like speaking positively and supporting people. People thought I was trolling them. And in fact, sometimes like I have some new friends that are like supporting me and being really kind to me, and I'm like kind of taken back. I'm like, wait a minute, do these people support me, or are they just trolling me because I'm super easy to troll? And I realize this is a big challenge. This is a big challenge for us to like be able to have a safe space to converse with each other and not feel like we're being too kind or being trolled. It's hard. It's a rough world. It's a rough world out there, boys and girls. It's a rough world for sure. Joshua Symes, I really agree, and I really dude, god dang it, I was about to say that. Assume makes an ass out of you and me. So good. Joshua, we gotta hang out, bro. I'm coming to the UK. We're hanging out. No, my stream crashed again. Oh my goodness. Yeah, assume makes an ass out of you and me. I love it, dude. I love it. All right, I'm coming to the UK. I'm gonna sit in one of your lectures, bro. Which is hard to do when you've been indoctrinated. Yeah, I think a lot of times we're all so hurt, and we're also we're also ready to be defensive from past trauma, that when someone's actually supportive or when someone's actually encouraging, we kind of like push it away. We're kind of like, no, you're not, you're not really complimenting me. You're not really supporting me. And that's a problem. And that's kind of goes back to talking about the New World Order and talking about past trauma with love or something along those lines, is like, you got to let go of those past traumas. You got to let go of all that old bullshit, and you got to stop being defensive from the past. You got to really start taking today for today. You got to start taking the moment right now as the moment right now. And that's, again, a big conversation. It's hard to do. So yeah, there's a lot of exciting things happening out in the space today. I think last night we were talking on Jungle Stream a lot about the custodial services and what their reluctance is to get, to get basically themselves pushed into this global ecosystem. And I think that it's really easy to see the conversation's pretty heady, and there's a lot of risks. There's security risks and security vulnerabilities inside these systems that they want to assess and have absolute certainty that they can offer insurance on them and things like that. So I'm not surprised if this is going to take a little bit longer than we expected. I saw this come out today on The Block. A UK trading firm gets a green light to offer new derivatives tied to crypto. And there's discussions of like what will be put on top of blockchain technology, derivative products, ETFs, things like that. If talking about stocks and bonds and issuance of tokenization of assets, there's a lot of stuff that we can see is being pushed this direction, but we don't know what that time frame is, and we also don't know what the emergence of this looks like as far as how it's going to be paired together. So it's a big conversation, and it's heady, and there's a lot of people, there's a lot of smart people looking at how to make economically sustainable models to push to the future. Because if you look at the financial systems now, we don't really have like a very sustainable system. So it's kind of a challenge for us to say we can't just replicate the current system and expect it to work. We're in a flying machine. Throwback to Daniel Quinn. Daniel Quinn has so many good analogies. Daniel Quinn, flying machine analogy, going off the cliff. The ground is coming up towards us very quickly. If we do not change these systems, then we're going to have a problem. So we can't just replicate the current financial system over to a digital age. There has to be some inherent changes to these systems, and that's a big conversation. And if you go back, it was over 100 years ago that we had the emergence of Bretton Woods and the IMF and the Federal Reserve, and those, again, are so old and so wrought with problems. There's a lot that we need to kind of like figure out and put together. So cheers. It's hard, and it's a challenge to even be here, especially if you're letting the price affect your emotions. If your emotions are ruled by the price, then it's rough. It's rough. Cheers. Really, Rod. What does it say? Yes, keep preaching, brother. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Rodrigo, my man. Cheers. Dizam says something to JPR about I'm absolutely open to your views. JPR. I'm not sure. I can't find the comment that you're talking about. I can't find JPR's comment. Dude, thank you so much. Hey, Sumreal says, do you have Coil hooked up? I do have Coil hooked up, but someone said yesterday that because the stream was kind of glitchy, that maybe it doesn't show up right away, but I'm hooked into Coil. So if you guys are part of the Coil ecosystem, then you are streaming payments in XRP to me right now. So cheers. I really appreciate it. Dude, Joshua, that's so cool. Your job is to create a safe learning environment on a daily basis. Dude, that is so awesome, man. And that's very challenging. You're right. It is such a challenge to create that space. That's what yoga is, in a sense, is as like holding space as a yoga teacher is creating a safe space for people to do this internal work, and the access to accessing their internal space, in a sense, is like facilitating this, like these gates or these structures and these rhythm and breathing patterns in the body. But the goal is to achieve this creation of the safe space. And that's hard. It's very hard. So cheers. Totally, man. I get it, dude. You're doing good work, though. I appreciate you. Raro Hani says you're a pseudo intellectual. You know what? If I could be a pseudo intellectual, that's way better than what I was. So cheers. I appreciate the support. Hollow the way. Why don't you talk about XRP and offer selling a value in your interpretation to justify your existence? Thank you, Roro Hani, again. You know what? Sometimes what we say to others is actually what we're saying to ourselves. So if you're feeling like your value, like you do not have value right now, maybe you can reassess what it is you want to do, and like how you can provide value to a system around you, and then serve that system. Put yourself out there, be vulnerable to the world, maybe learn how to be wrong, and then learn how to grow from that. You can put yourself out there and gain and grow and be in some way receptive to the possibility that you can benefit others and serve other people in a positive light. I believe in you, dude. You can do it, man. Cheers. Renewable Guy 589 says, KFN, I have a video for you to check out. A couple, actually. The first is Greg Hunter interviewing Daniel Estulin. He brings up some interesting points in regards to the NWO. If you guys ever want to send me stuff, you can totally tweet it at me, or if you want to drop something on my subreddit, I have Reddit /sub kungfunerd. It's a subreddit I have. Originally, I was encouraging you guys to put memes in there, but I don't think we've been doing meme review in so long. If you guys ever want to send me articles, or if you ever want to drop something on Twitter or in my subreddit, I will try to be better about checking that often. So cheers. I really appreciate that. And send those videos to me. I'd love to check them out. If it's a video you think I'd like, man, I'd love to check that out. Cheers. Thanks for the down-to-earth conversation. There's too much irritating bullshit going on right now. You know what? You bet, dude. I don't know. I actually have not been able to be part of this the whole community backstabbing shank off that's been going on. Like, I'm just don't have time for that. I really don't have time to play games and to care about all the petty nonsense. I barely have time to stream and to share ideas and to actually do something positive in my life in the real world. So again, one of the only things I can suggest is if you guys are feeling like something's irritating you, then just stop paying attention to it. You know, like it's not that easy. You can't just like put your head in the sand like an ostrich, but maybe recognize that what you turn your attention to is what you're giving space. So in reality, like yi leads the qi. It's old qigong saying. It's an old kung fu saying about yi leads the qi. Your mind leads the energy. So where your mind goes, energy flows. So if your mind is somewhere that you don't want it to be, and then stop giving it energy. Maybe develop a practice or a way to facilitate yourself to take your mind to somewhere you want to go. And that gives you control over that. So cheers. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Chronic, yeah, neither hype nor hypo. Neither hype nor hypo. Yeah, thank you, Chronic. Yeah, I appreciate it. You down with the IOV and the ILP? You know me. Bro, don't tease me with a good time. I'm gonna put up another rap just for you guys. The ILP rap, bro. It's getting hot in here. Cheers. Yeah, totally. All right, we went over an hour. We're trying not to do over an hour. I got some other stuff to do, and really I'm just kind of like basically playing with the idea of streaming again every day or not. Do I want to? It might not be an everyday thing. It might be just when I feel like it. I'm kind of like running a million miles a minute in my life right now and doing a bunch of other things. So some days I won't be here at all. Some days I will be here. It might be different times. I might have different people on with me. I might be inviting other people to join me in the chat. We'll be doing a big forum of people I respect their opinion and want to bring them on. We'll have big conversations on other people's channels. I'll try to jump on some other channels and say what's up. And also look out for, I think Jungle and Oz and I are trying to do something together as well. So there's a lot of potential new ways for you to see me live. And also I have that edit coming out later today. Let's see, how crypto failed, the response video. So there's me responding to the comments and questions that you guys put on that video, and I will be putting that up later today as well as well as some other workouts and vlogs and all kinds of stuff. So pay attention to where your mind goes, and maybe recognize if that's where you want to give energy or not. And if you guys are looking at like how to be part of this conversation, definitely there's some OGs in the space that I'll start putting up tweets with like their books or like their information, or how to like start learning about cryptography at the base level and maybe the history of cryptography, stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to do that, and I think you guys would basically you guys would benefit from that. So cheers. I really appreciate you guys. I really think that you guys are doing good stuff out there. And that's about it. This is all we're doing. Farewell. Farewell. Unless you guys have any like last minute comments or questions. Collapsing a wave function. Dazam, thank you so much. I appreciate all the super chatters. Thank you guys so much. It means a lot. And also shout out to all of my Patreons. I really appreciate you guys. If you guys don't want to super chat me, but you do want to support the channel, my Patreon page is a great way to do that. You can support me for even $1 a month. It goes a long way, and I really appreciate all my patrons on there. And in fact, the super chatters and the patrons and the people that are sending me XRP donations, you guys are super kind, way too sweet. I'm very appreciative of you. And as always, remember, do something nice for yourself today. Do something nice for you. Do something for you. You deserve it. You're worth it. And if anybody hasn't told you already, you're beautiful and amazing just how you are. That's it. Farewell, guys. Have a great day until I see you next time.
Brought to you by your team.